So my name is Noor, and today I'm going to go over a couple points. Firstly, how do you become the type of student who can fund their education with the process of applying to scholarships, grants, and bursaries? We're going to go over some key attributes that scholarship committees are looking for in students who are applying to their scholarships. Second, how do you strategically source funding opportunities that are a good fit for you? There's a couple steps in this strategy that I'm going to go over, and it has everything to do with creating a system in order to win. And third, I'm going to go over some tips on how to write compelling scholarship essays, program applications, resumes, and cover letters to differentiate yourself from the competition. And now I've been with Grammy for almost a year now, and I actually started out as an essay editor, and the essays that I edited with these tips went on to being winning essays. So these tips are tried and tested. So next, I want to go over why scholarships are a good investment, why they're worth your time, and why you want to make the investment right now. Now, this chart explains exactly that. The reason scholarships are such a great investment is because they're cumulative. This means that the more work you put in, the higher chances you have of winning scholarships and the more money you're able to make. Now, looking at this graph, the gray line here represents a part-time $20 an hour job. You can see that working 15 hours a week is going to make you about $14,000 a year, and that's not going to change. Your pay isn't conditional upon how hard you work. You're going to make the same amount of money. Now, if you commit that same amount of time to applying to scholarships, you can see that the amount of money you make increases. And not only that, what's more interesting is that the more amount of time you commit, it increases much more dramatically. And so this dramatic increase is the cumulative effect that happens when you commit more hours to scholarships. And with this trend, every single time you put in a scholarship, it's 10 times more likely that the next application you put in is going to have success because you keep improving. And so this is what the cumulative effect is, and it's not something that you're going to achieve with a part-time job, because every time you apply to a new scholarship, you're 10 times more likely to succeed. So now that you understand why it's important to apply, let's go over the key attributes of what scholarship committees look for. Now, these attributes are taken from specific scholarship applications that our students have won that are worth from $50,000 to $100,000, and these are the 5 attributes that we see over and over again in these applications. So there's leadership, sense of self and community, initiative and achieving goals, self-reflection, and problem solving and resilience. And so you want to be able to possess and clearly outline these attributes in the experiences that you write about in your scholarship applications. The committee should be able to point these attributes out just by reading your application. So you want to start thinking about what experiences or examples you have that can encompass these attributes. Now, there's 4 pillars to scholarship systems, and every one of our students that have applied to these pillars to their scholarship process have won and gotten a return on their investment. These pillars are financial planning, research, a winning essay template, and applying and winning. And so if you can master this, you can save yourself thousands of hours and make thousands more as well. So we really want you to look at this and think, if I build a system around scholarships, I can be successful. And if you apply to this, you probably won't have to work, which is what ends up happening for a lot of our students. So create a financial plan. Knowing how much it's going to cost is the number one thing that students often overlook. So whether you're going into post-secondary, if you're in your first year, or whatever point you are in your academic journey, you want to know what the remaining cost of your education is and you want to total that up. And what shocks a lot of people is that the average cost of a year of tuition for school in Canada is actually about $19,000 a year. And so the second thing you want to do is to create a scholarship goal. And this goal should fill up that gap. So if your remaining cost is $20,000 and your parents or you have saved up about $10,000, then your scholarship goal should fill up that remaining $10,000 gap. So once you have this number in mind, you can start making tangible steps to work towards it. And third, you want to create a budget. So no matter how much scholarship money you've won, it doesn't really matter if you don't know how to manage your money effectively. So you really want to factor in your scholarship goal in this, how much you've saved, and aim to graduate debt-free. So next, you want to research and create spreadsheets. So firstly, avoid scholarship search engines. They're often scams or contests, and they'll ask you to fill something out. It'll take you 40 minutes and it'll be a waste of your time. So what you should do instead is check in with your high school and university. If you're in high school, you can check in with your counselor, and if you're in university, you can check in with financial aid. And these are the scholarships that are the least competitive to apply to. Next are affiliate scholarships. These include any clubs that you're a part of, your parents' employers, any sports teams, extracurriculars you may also be a part of. And you want to look at your affiliations, and these scholarships are also going to be less competitive than some of the national scholarships. And lastly, you want to track the scholarships that you find. And to do this, you want to create a database for yourself for every scholarship that you've applied to or will apply to. And next, you want to write a compelling essay. So I've mentioned before, I used to be an essay editor with GrantMe, so I've read hundreds of applications for scholarship, admissions, bursaries, you name it. And these points are what I always go back to, and they're what I recommended for applications that have gone on to be winning essays. So firstly, create a hook. Your hook is the first thing that the committee will read out of the countless of applications that they're getting, so you want to stand out, of course. To stand out, you want to avoid general statements, cliche quotes, and cliche questions as well. And these are hooks that are more generalized and less personal, which is the exact opposite of what we're aiming for, which is to be as personal as possible. And so next, the STAR model here. The STAR model is what we use when describing experiences, and it stands for situation, task, action, and result. And for every experience, you should ask yourself, what was the situation, what was the task, the action, and the result. And thirdly here, students tend to dump all the experiences they've had, every sports team and volunteer organization they've been a part of, and it's actually less effective than using fewer experiences. When you use fewer experiences, these experiences will be more relevant to the prompt or scholarship that you're applying to, and in doing so, you want to make sure that rather than describing the experience or your role in that experience, you're discussing the impact that you had with that experience, whether that's on your community, on your organization, or with yourself. And the fourth thing here is to be authentic about your challenges. Scholarship committees love when you hold problem-solving qualities, which, if you remember, is one of our key attributes. So you want to discuss challenges that you experienced in your example. Even if they don't ask for it, don't shy away from writing about it. So if you can incorporate these 4 principles into your essay, it can be a template to writing a compelling essay every time, and you can reuse that material again and again. And last, you're going to apply and win with a system that you just created. And that's what it looks like to create a system to succeed in finding scholarships and graduating debt-free. And so by creating a system, you can be successful in not only scholarships, but every other area of your life that you also want to succeed in.